from Women's Health on the Go. As you can see from my title below, tonight we are going to be talking about holistic news. Some research articles that I found that I just came out that I think are very, very interesting for women's health and just for our general health. My name is Lori Faulkner. I'm part of Women's Health on the Go, where I am passionate about educating women on how to take care of themselves naturally and holistically. If you're interested in more information about it, please visit womenshealthonthego.com to read up more about me, to see a video about more me, and if you want to schedule an appointment, even you can schedule a free 5-minute phone call if you have just a question that you want to answer and you're not really quite sure if we'll be a great fit. So please make sure you go over to there. And I do have a link down in the comments there. So actually, you know what? I'll put it in there again now that the show has started. And there you go, folks. If you want to go over there, check out the scheduling page and schedule a free 5-minute phone call with us. So if you're new, welcome. If you're oldie but goodie, welcome back again. As I always tell everybody, please, if you have comments, if you have questions, if you just want to say hello, please. I love comments. I love engagement. It's the way that I know that I'm making sense and that you're out there. So please make sure that you comment and let me know. And if you can, share this video. If you know somebody that would be interested in this show, or if you want to just share into your newsfeed, I would really, really appreciate that. Let's get the word out there, everyone. Okay, so again, tonight we're going to be talking about holistic news, but as those who watch me and know, I always have to put my medical disclaimer out there. So all material provided in this video is for informational and educational purposes only and is not meant to substitute the advice of your healthcare professional. It is not meant to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. All statements made in this video have not been evaluated by the FDA, and we are not making any medical claims when we are taught if I happen to mention any essential oils. Also, sometimes I do mention essential oils. The International Federation of Aromatherapists does not recommend the use of essential oils internally unless you are under the care of a healthcare provider that is also certified in aromatherapy. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, please consult your healthcare provider before using any natural, holistic, whether it's essential oils, herbs, or anything. Okay? All right, so let's get started with some holistic news. Now, the first one that I want to talk about, which actually is about tea, and I'm drinking my tea tonight, is about tea consumption, and that there's some research that was done investigating basically coffee and tea and the effects that it would have on our epigenetics. So what is epigenetics? Oh, I can't even say the word now tonight. So, we have our DNA, our strain that tells us that we get from our parents and stuff like that. There's epigenetics is the easiest way that is your DNA is your hard drive. It is your computer, right? Where epigenetics is the software that tells the computer what to do, which tells your body what to do. And that can range from anything to, let's see, I'm trying to think of something kind of simple. So you get pregnant, okay? So it's going to say, okay, your body needs to do this and this. This hormone has to be released. This one has to be released in order for your body to create pregnancy, another human being. Or you have a cold, and your body's going to be telling your hard drive, the software in your body that's all working in your body is going to tell your hard drive what to do to react to that, or like about even diseases and medical conditions. And so, because some things are hard drive, they're always going to be there, right? And your epigenetics is that software. It's almost like a computer software that comes in and tells your hard drive how to function. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Let me know if I'm making sense there, everyone, okay? So what they found is that also epigenetics can actually come from external things of what we do, right? So the way that we eat, we exercise, we sleep, stress reduction, all of those things are also going to affect what's going on in our body, right? So what they found is that with tea consumption, there's certain things that are going on when you're drinking the tea. It's telling your body certain things, okay? And it's telling that hard drive what to do. And two things that it found the most that when they were investigating is that it can affect the genes that are involved in cancer and estrogen metabolism, okay? Now, the bad part about this research is it didn't go really any further, okay? It just knows that when you drink tea, when you drink lots of tea, it is going to affect the cancer genes and the estrogen metabolism genes. But it's not going to tell whether it's healthy or not. Okay, so there does need to be more research. Definitely needs to be more research. But there have been other research studies done with tea consumption. And another one is having to do with cognitive impairment. So when they did a research on drinking tea, especially those it was done more on the elderly, on 50 years or older, they found that drinking a cup of tea every day wards off dementia. Now, dementia is or like Alzheimer's is like when we start losing our memory, those kind of things. That tea actually helps prevent that from happening. And those that are genetically disposed to it actually improves the chances of you getting it as well, okay? So that is really, really, to me, that's huge, right? Because there's a lot of people out there as we get older. I mean, I know that I sometimes I'm losing my memory just a little bit, but as we get older, that really can significantly happen. And some people are more genetically disposed to it compared to others. Now, tea is found to help. It's just like there's been research with like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, like sodas, actually that actually can bring on that drinking Coca-Cola really affects the brain and can cause an increased risk for dementia and Alzheimer's. Hi, Dave. How are you? I hope you're having a good evening. That's me, the elderly. I drink tea every day. That's great. What kind of tea do you drink? That's the kind of what I love hearing, because there's so many different herbal teas out there. There's just basically, black tea, Earl Grey tea. I love green tea. I drink lots of green tea. I also have lots of herbs in my house, so I'll just put little couple things together and see how that goes as well. So it'd be interesting to see what you drink. So when they did this study, it was kind of interesting because they actually followed these elderly people over several years, and every 2 years they would actually see how they're doing mentally. If they're drinking tea every day as they're getting older, compared to the other group that did not drink any tea. It was pretty impressive research. Green tea is very good, Dave. I love green tea. It's got a lot of benefits. I drink that. I try to drink as much as I can. I love green tea, but I also love lots of other herbal tea. So I think that these kind of research, the more and more we read about research, especially with teas and stuff like that, they're really, really great. Plus, a lot of herbal teas, when you talk about herbal medicine, you're going to get those medicinal herbal properties of it, such as like lavender, which is like if you're having anxiety and having trouble sleep at night, having a cup of lavender with chamomile at nighttime. You're drinking tea, but you're also getting the medicinal properties of those teas, which are really, really, really beneficial. So I thought that was a really cool research. Now, the next thing that I saw, which I thought was really, really interesting, which is about, I mentioned it a little bit in the pre-show, is the Depo-Provera, and the part that I didn't mention is your HIV risk. So Depo-Provera is a form of birth control. It is an injection form. It only has progesterone. And you have to get an injection every 12 weeks. Now, the thing with the Depo-Provera that I typically tell people about about it is that there are lots of different kinds of side effects that are not the most pleasant, such as that typically most women will gain weight on it. You do have to take calcium supplements because then you're putting yourself at a higher risk of developing osteoporosis later in life, or even when you're even younger if you're taking the Depo-Provera and you're very young. Also, if you decided that you wanted to have children after using the Depo-Provera, it can take a year to a year and a half to get your fertility back. And now they have research saying that those who use Depo-Provera have a higher risk of contracting HIV. Now, this research was done in an area that HIV is very prevalent. So, it was done in South Africa, which HIV virus is very, very prevalent. But I think that we can also bring it over here as well. And it's something that, because, HIV is prevalent in this country as well. It's not as prevalent as compared to South Africa, but I think this research is important because these are the things that we need to know about when we're trying to make an informed decision for our lives about what kind of birth control we want to use. So what they found is that for some reason, the Depo-Provera, the progesterone, acts differently than compared to other birth control pills, other types of birth control, such as pills. There's the ring, there's the patch, there's the IUD. But they said from what they were saying is that it almost behaves like the stress hormone cortisol on the cells in the genital tract area. So it's changing the environment in the genital area that is unfortunately creating an environment that is more easily, if you're having sexual relations with somebody who has HIV, it's a little bit easier for you to contract that HIV. Hopefully that makes sense. They think that it's because of a decreased immune response. This is what they're saying that they believe in, and it's also because of this. So estrogen inside our vagina works really, really important in creating like a protective layer, like a protective barrier. It makes the tissue inside the vagina, it makes it more elastic, it makes it thicker, it creates a really good, friendly environment. It's just like when we go through menopause, when we have that lack of estrogen, the skin isn't as elastic as it was. It becomes a lot more thinner. The blood vessels come closer to the surface. And that's why women develop vaginal dryness, vaginal irritation, all of these things in menopause. And from what I can read from what they're saying here is that it's almost like the Depo-Provera is kind of creating that same environment because you're only getting the progesterone. There's no estrogen there. So hopefully that makes sense. So I think that is something that when we as women are making the decision to use a form of birth control, that it's something that we should know. Yes, I understand this research was done in South Africa and the prevalence of HIV is a lot more significant there, as compared to here. But HIV is prevalent here. There are a lot of people out there that are HIV positive. There are heterosexual as well as all kinds of sexual relations out there. So I think that it's just really important that this kind of research is made known to the public so that we as women can make an informed decision about what form of birth control we want to use. I'm hoping that I'm making sense and giving you a reason of why I actually think that is important research that we should know. I think that there's a lot of research that is being conducted out there, and the majority of it is not being presented to us, the patient, so that we can make an informed decision about what's going on. Unfortunately, the media will promote whatever. I don't know who it is that wants this certain stuff being promoted, but I'm going to give you the prime example of the next research that just got published. This to me is why are we not knowing this? So the next and last one that I want to talk about is the flu vaccine. Okay. Now, most people know I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit passionate about making sure that, we are all informed about the flu vaccine and the effects of it and how actually beneficial it is. And even when the flu vaccine is not as effective anywhere from on the average over so many years, I think it was about 16% of the time it's actually going to help prevent. Now, then there's some people who say that, well, if you do get the vaccine, that if you do get the flu, it makes it that it's not as bad and all this kind of stuff. Well, there's just research that has been published that says that what they were doing is that they actually weren't even looking really at the flu vaccine, but they just kind of found this on the side. They were looking about how when someone has the flu, how are they spreading it? When they have, when they're coughing, when they kind of sneeze and there's big droplets of when we sneeze, little stuff shoots all over the place, right? And, how much of it's in there. And then also just breathing. Because when we breathe in and out, we're having some type of aerosol, very, very tiny aerosols that are going out to the environment around us. And the most amazing thing that they found was that those people who had the flu vaccine were significantly spreading the flu just from breathing. We're not talking about coughing. We're not talking about sneezing. We're talking about just very fine, tiny aerosols. So they found that people who had the flu vaccine were actually spreading the flu. Now, it was more prevalent in influenza A as compared to B, right? It was influenza A that they were finding it. But I think that is amazing. Totally amazing. How is this happening? And if you had the vaccine the previous year, well, you were even more likely, spreading it around. So I think that is so interesting. Here we're at a point too right now that, I have my little own theories about, the flu vaccine and about how every year they're trying to replicate, but the flu keeps kind of changing. I mean, yeah, it's the same kind of strain, but it's kind of also changing a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if down the road, when we vaccinate ourselves for it, I think that the flu is probably getting a little smarter, and they're like, I'm learning about what you're doing, people, and I'm going to make sure I come back worse next year. And here we are in a situation where we're in a situation right now where the flu is really prevalent, and it's killing people. It's killing people who have even had the flu vaccine. So I think that this is really, really interesting. I want to read exactly the quote from it because I thought that this was. Let me just read it real quick. Now, they're still saying that, most researchers, when I read research, they do it, but then they always want to say they want more research done to even confirm it even more. That's something that happens with every kind of research. But it says, they're saying, though, if confirmed, this observation, together with recent literature suggesting reduced protection with annual vaccination, would have implications for influenza vaccination recommendations and policies. I mean, it's saying that if you get the flu vaccine, I think it's pretty funny because if you are a healthcare provider and you work in a healthcare center, you are required in certain states by law to get a flu vaccine. And in some states, if you don't get that flu vaccine, then you will have to wear a mask on your face, which literally is just putting a big S on someone's, the scarlet letter S on their chest to say that they didn't get the vaccine. Because even the CDC even says having someone who didn't get the flu vaccine wearing a flat mask, it does nothing. When reality, if you read this research, and if they continue to do this research and they find out, it's the people who got the flu vaccine who should be wearing the masks, not the people who didn't get it. How about that? So I thought that was very, very, very interesting. Yeah, I think that was a very, very interesting kind of research. All right, so that's my news for the night. I hope that everyone is having a good evening. I don't know if Anne, if you're still watching, Anne, if you are, yay to the Eagles. I'm very, very proud. I'll let everybody know I'm a Giant fan, and I'm not really a fan of the Eagles, but last night I was a fan of the Eagles, and they did a great job, and congratulations, Anne, because I know you're a big Eagles fan. And Paul Walsh, if you're still watching, hello. I hope you're having a good evening too. So that's it for my holistic news. I hope that all of those 3 little topics, I hope that they were informational and sparked your brain, because I'm always I love reading research, and I'm constantly reading research, and it constantly is making me think, and just the way that I'm taking care of myself, the way that I care for my patients as well. And I always want to spread that knowledge as far as I can, and get it as far as I can, so that we're taking care of ourselves the best that we can. Paul, I drink epimedium yin yang tea. I don't even know. I don't even know what that is. I'm sure that I've never heard of that one. Is it good? Do you like it? Does it have any benefits? I'll have to, I never heard that one. But yes, tea. I love tea. Tea is very, very good and very healthy for you. Keep drinking tea. That is for sure. Next week, I have a guest coming on. I've had her before, Millie Aaliyah. She's of Millie Wellness. She's a wellness coach. She deals with the long-term medical conditions, such as if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or definitely she focuses on cancer patients. But we're going to be talking about, I think that we're going to be talking about a diet and nutrition, and how doing that is really, really important to help prevent those medical conditions from happening. So she's a really, really great guest. I'm really going to be excited to have her on. So if you can join us next week, same time, same channel, all that kind of fun stuff. If you have any questions from anything tonight, please make sure you post them below. If you want to get a reminder for the show, just let me know, and I'll put you on a reminder list so that you can get reminders every week when we come on live. So I hope that everyone had a good evening. I hope you have a great week, and stay warm. We're supposed to be getting about 10 inches on Wednesday, so hopefully wherever you are, you're going to be nice and toasty and warm. So thank you everyone for showing up tonight. I hope you had a great night, and we will see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.